As a student, I came into my study abroad experience with high hopes and dreams. At the beginning, I knew that this experience would be a fresh start, something exciting. I had dreamed of this moment all throughout my first 2 years at Tech, and it had finally come. Landing in Geneva, I was greeted with majestic mountains with snowy peaks, something completely unheard of in Atlanta, Georgia. I was happy to get away from the big city and experience something new. When I first arrived at EPFL, I had a set list of principles that I thought would never be challenged. I soon found this to be a silly belief. I thought studying abroad would be easy, a cakewalk through the park, but it was everything but that. First semester, I struggled with the layout of courses, the language difference, and the management of my time. With hiking within reaching distance, weekly exchange student parties, and a course structure that puts 100% of your grade on finals, I easily fell behind. Finals month was one of the hardest experiences I've ever gone through, and I learned a hard lesson to be more proactive in the future. When I first arrived, I was sure that I would be fluent in French by the end of my experience, but I soon found that it was too easy to just speak English on campus. My French only advanced marginally, and by the end, I could only still have basic conversations with the natives. I learned that language is something you must pursue actively, daily, if you want fluency. Second semester was another fresh start. I had been accepted to do a research internship in the environmental chemistry lab. This was a new beginning for me. It was my first real job, and I knew I had to work my hardest to prove myself to my peers. I wasn't going to go through what happened last semester again. In this internship, I learned a lot of valuable skills, and I also learned a lot about myself. Previously, I'd been very stubborn about my future life path. I knew I was going to the Peace Corps. I knew I wanted to work with water sanitation and filtration, and I knew nobody would change that. As I worked more in the lab with microbiology, I found a new interest in a direction I never would have expected. I loved working with live subjects, and I found it fascinating. Surprised by this newfound passion, I worked my hardest every week, and I found myself happy for the first time in a long time. In this lab, I worked with some of the most amazing people. Everyone loved what they did, and everyone was pretty laid back. I loved the environment, and it really sparked my interest into research. Working on your own project and being able to deliver a profound result at the end gave me a sense of purpose and a sense of who I really was. Living in another country and having to adapt to a new language, a new culture, and a different education style allowed me to learn more about who I was without the pressures of my friends and family who were thousands of miles away. I came abroad to try and become someone new, but instead, I just became myself.